Thanks for joining us. Welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Millicent Walker. On the program today, President Buhari condemns killing of University Don, 3 others in twin suicide attacks on the University of Maiduguri. Bring Back Our Girls campaign group arrives northeast to tour Sambisa Forest with Nigeria's military. And Kwara State government seeks federal government support to fighting ecological crisis and boosting tourism. And 4 people, including a university professor, Ali Umani, have been killed after a twin blast struck the University of Maiduguri, Borno State on Monday. Eyewitness reports say one of the attacks was carried out by a 7-year-old boy. The blast is the first on the university since the nearly 6-year-old insurgency began. Our correspondent Blessing Tuno has more.
In the 6 years of insurgency in the northeast, this is the first time that a suicide bomber is able to successfully penetrate the university gates.
We are now in a guerrilla war situation. In the mosque, you don't know who is praying next to you. In the church, you don't know who is sitting next or praying next to you. Even in a hold-up, you don't know who is parking. So people should be very wary of people around them and be more security conscious.
Today's incident is a hard one on the university community because a professor of veterinary medicine was lost in the incident, and this is coming at a time when students are writing their end of first semester examinations.
This is the first time we recorded a suicide bombing in the university premises. Even during the hard times, there was never a time something like this happens inside the university. So it's very unfortunate. There are about 15 that sustained injuries that were evacuated by joint team of State Emergency Management and the National Emergency Management Agency to the hospital, and they are now adequately responding to the treatment. And the other suicide bombers were not able to penetrate into the university, so she was shot down and really lost the suicide bomber. So far I think there is need for us to improve the security vigilance across the university premises.
Security operatives are asking the public for support and collaboration until the insurgency problem is collectively brought to an end. Blessing Tunu, Channels Television News. A very sad situation there, which the President, Muhammadu Buhari, has commiserated with families of the victims, the university community, as well as the government of Borno State. The President, in strong terms, condemned the attack at the university, describing their acts of terrorism as cowardly, criminal, unjustifiable and punishable before God and the laws of the land. He reassured the Northeast that his administration will continue to ensure that terrorism never triumphs and asked Nigerians to remain more vigilant as security agencies continue to combat the remnants of insurgents and their sponsors. The back and forth on whether or not the Bring Back Our Girls group will visit Sambisa Forest has now ended. Members of the group are in the northeast to witness efforts by the military to rescue the remaining girls. Those on the trip are the co-convener, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, chair of strategic team, Aisha Yusufu, a Chibok community member, Alan Manasseh, and one Mr. Ibrahim Usman, who is also a member of the Bring Back Our Girls group. Before they left Abuja Airport, there was a mild drama as the group insisted that the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, bought the same aircraft with the BBOG delegation. The initial plan was for the delegation to be conveyed to Yola alongside some journalists while the minister joins another aircraft. But that was turned down at the airport tarmac by the BBOG delegation, who insisted that none of their members will board the flight if the minister was not among them. After a series of explanations, the minister conceded to joining other participants in the same flight. The government delegation also included the Minister of Defense, Mansur Danali, and the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar. On arrival to the Air Force Base in Yola, the Nigerian Air Force briefed them on their operations so far, with the commanding officer, Air Vice Marshal Nuruddin Balogun, explaining that the over 2 billion naira was spent in 2016 to ensure a functional air component of the Operation Lafia Dole. Air Vice Marshal Balogun informed members of the Bring Back Our Girls group that efforts are on to find the remaining abducted Chibok schoolgirls and other persons who were abducted by the Boko Haram insurgents. And the Nigerian Army has continued their mop-up operation in different parts of the northeast. Troops are patrolling the general area of Baga, Kangarawa and Dogon Chukun in order to intercept any fleeing Boko Haram terrorists. In the course of doing this, troops of the 119 Task Force Battalion of 7 Brigades said they came across shallow graves of Boko Haram terrorists that escaped with gunshot wounds and died after an encounter on the 13th of January 2017. The statement signed by Director Army Public Relations Brigadier General Sani Usman added that the troops also recovered a 36 hand grenade and one 12.7 by 108 millimeter round of ammunition concealed by the terrorists. Staying in the northeast, the senator representing Yobe South, Senator Mohammed Hassan, has trained 200 displaced and other less privileged women in soap and lotion making, as well as sewing and knitting, baking fruits and salad production, among several other trades. At the graduation ceremony in Pottiscombe, the commercial nerve center of the state, the senator also presented cash in support of 50,000 naira to each of the beneficiaries.
If you look at the situation of our people now, this is what they need. I try as much as possible not to play the usual type of politics of saying, okay, you're holding a political appointment. Each time you're home, people come to you, you take money, you give it to them. No, that's not my approach. That's not how to create wealth. And part of my constituency project, I said I was going to look at projects like this. We did not target a particular set of people. We made sure that those that have been affected in so many ways by the insurgency and all that have benefited from this program.
And Kwara State Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed is seeking the support of the federal government in areas of solid minerals development and tourism to increase the state's revenue base. Governor Ahmed made this request in Ilorin when he received members of the Presidential Committee on Revenue Mobilization for Natural Resources and Ecological Fund in his office.
The Presidential Committee on Revenue Mobilization for Natural Resources and Ecological Fund in Ilorin to meet with the Governor of Kwara State, Abdul Fattah Ahmed. Governor Ahmed tells the team that recent economic downturn and dwindling allocation from the federal government has made fighting ecological problems a big task for his administration. He seeks the Commission's support.
We'll be very delighted to see a strong partnership coming in between us and the windows created by the Revenue Mobilization Office, so that as a state we can truly begin to tap into the options that come up in supporting the revenue base that we have in the state. On our own, we are leaving no stone unturned in increasing our revenue base. And some of the things some of us have advocated in the past is for government to give us additional support to broaden our revenue generating capacities.
The head of the delegation, Dr. Rafiq Ogunbambi, agrees to have seen some areas in the state hit by environmental challenges and wants the state government to begin preventive measures.
We've seen the devastation of erosion in some of these areas. We are particularly moved by what we saw in Kilanko area of Ilorin South. You don't have to be a geologist or an environmentalist to do your own on-the-spot environmental impact assessment.
Apart from solving ecological problems, Governor Ahmed also wants support on the tourism potential found in the state.
We still have quite a few areas which we'll be coming up with later, which we hope would give us that platform to show up our tourism environment. We know the improvement in tourism comes with a lot of potentials.
With other necessary checks and steps being put in place to increase the state's revenue base, perhaps this support will open up more opportunities in the tourism sector and the state. in general.
And when News Across Nigeria returns, we'll be taking a look at the situation in the northeast with our guests in the studio. Join us again.